Hi, hello, welcome back to another video. New mic, new monitor, right? So if I sound different, that's why. Also, that's the reason the resolution on the first clip's gonna be different, because it's like a week old. My bad. I tried to fix it in editing, but there's not really a lot I can do. But I want to commentate over a couple things today. First clip I have is a really long clip with like a couple back-to-back fights. Maybe not the best players, but it gives me a pretty good chance to talk about things I don't normally get a chance to talk about. Things like starting fights with half your cooldowns ready, or where you're fighting, what you're fighting, kind of how to open up a fight, or what to focus first, stuff like that. And then later on I'll talk about some 2vx stuff that I got. That way, you know, just kind of give you some things to think about when you have a teammate involved. Anyways, let's go ahead and get to this first fight. Alright, to start off with this clip, I got a teammate getting chased by about 5 people. Now I see that this Weaver isn't on his mount, so I'm going to go ahead and try to open up on him with a Greatsword Burst. However, he does dodge it, and he actually hits me with a Gale. Now, he's hitting me with a Gale, but I'm not going to waste a stun break because I don't want to waste the cooldown, and he's obviously running away from me, so he's not going to do a lot of damage like that. When he turns around, I go for a Greatsword 2 into an F2 burst and land some decent damage off of him. And I see that I get him kind of low, and he's pretty glassy, so I'm going to maintain my attention on him even though other people are joining the fight. As soon as the Hollowsmith gets close to the down, I'm going to grab well on both of them, and I'm able to get the Hollowsmith down as well. Now that I have 2 downs in the fight, I just need to play slow, and the only thing I need to worry about is preventing one of them from getting rezzed. Especially because this is a Tempest, and it kind of loses my momentum if one of them gets up. Again, like I said, I'm not worried about doing as much damage or cleaving them as fast as possible, as long as they stay down. So it's easy for me to make distance and stuff like that, and just kind of play slow, because I don't want to throw a fight when all the fighters are already dead. But now that I get them all down, like I said, got the Hounds of Balthazar there. Maybe not the best players, but, you know, the clip gets better, I promise. But, like I said, I just cleave these 2 guys out, and you know, I think the fight's over right there. You know, kind of auto run, type to my boy, and charge my mantra. However, when I turn around, I see there's 2 Willbenders running towards me. Obviously, they have a lot of mobility, so running away isn't an option, and they also have a huge burst potential. So my best option is to make some distance to get a safe heal off, and also get my shield block up. I use this shield block to block as much of the burst as possible, and once I feel like I have a safe second, I'll try to CC both of them. Once I land CCs on both, I try to go for a Greatsword Burst, but they both have stun breaks inside of the Gravwell, and this forces me into the water, where I can use Spear 5 as a CC on the second Willbender, and Spear 2 to make some distance in between the first and second Willbender. On this first Willbender, I'm able to interrupt Greatsword 3 with F3, and I can land a nice Greatsword Burst into them. Here I'm able to interrupt the Revive with the Stun Mantra, and now this basically is just a 1v1 between a Willbender and me. However, I need to still kind of play slow, and I also use the down as a focal point in the fight. That way I can get damage on both of them. Alright, both Willbenders are down, so now the fight's over. I'm just going to cleave them out so I can get Ultimate Dominator in the next 10 years. But one thing I did want to kind of point out is, because I'm next to the water, I was kind of able to piece something together I wouldn't normally be able to do. You know, using the extra cooldowns from the Spear really did help out in this fight, just because those Willbenders are very aggressive, and, you know, starting off with half your cooldowns is not really a good thing to do. Alright, this Ellie from before is back, so I open up with shield 4 just to see what he wastes into it. And I was able to kill him very quickly earlier, so I'm not too concerned about the 1v1 right now. I decided to go for a continued split burst and don't do a ton of damage on the first try, but on the second go around I do a decent amount of damage, and I'm able to use that momentum for the rest of the fight. I am kind of running out of weapon cooldowns and shatters, so I take this time to charge my mantra, and once I charge it, I'm able to immobile him with the sword 3 and basically just auto attack him to death. Alright, while I cleave this guy out, my homeboy across the water over there just lost a 1v1 to a Selly Harbinger. Now the thing with Harbinger is it's very tanky, it has a lot of mobility, a lot of resustain, good CC, and it has a ton of damage, and also every boon in the game. So the fight sucks. But the biggest thing is to just kind of maintain CC pressure with Stun Mantra, F3, Greatsword 5, or Gravwell if you don't waste it like I did there. Now, I land some decent damage on the opener, but he makes a lot of distance. I'm going to maintain that distance. Once he pops Spectral Walk, I'm not going to chase him with Blink because he can port right back just like he does here. Boom, there's every boon in the game just like that, so I swapped to my offhand set. I'm going to block for as long as possible and just try to wait out some of those boons because it is literally every single one in the game. Here he lands a decent CC, so I back off, charge my mantra, get a heal off, and then I open back up with an F3 into a Greatsword 4 and another stun mantra into Greatsword 5 and land some decent damage. Now he's feeling a lot of pressure, however, he's going to run away and he has more mobility than me, and using Blink to chase a Harbinger is always a gamble for this fact right here, is I used my stun break to chase him and then followed it up with a Greatsword 3 straight into an invisible Gravwell. So my biggest thing here is, you know, it was a huge gamble, and, you know, that could have cost me the fight. It got very close here, and I was not able to kill him because a bunch of red names show up as well. So I drop a gravel on myself and use Midnight Signet, and then go into the water and use Spear 4 and Spear 2 to make some distance and kind of get out of combat just to regain some cooldowns and figure out what I'm going to do next. I see there's a lot of players chasing me, so I'm going to make that distance and give myself some room to breathe, figure out what I want to open on first, and kind of what the game plan is after that. Looking back at what has actually followed me, I see there's an Ellie, a Virtuoso, and 2 of the Willbenders that have decided to follow me across the bridge. So I decide I'm going to open up on the Ellie just because it might not be the most glassy, but it can't run for me quite as fast as a Willbender can. And I also have Titanium Split, so I can go ahead and double full burst into this Ellie, and I'm able to get them down and actually get the Willbender himself to 2% HP, and I could have chased here, but Willbender is a lot faster than Chrono, so it's best to just stay on my down and consolidate some damage on top of it, especially with another Willbender here, and you know he's going to play aggressive just because all Willbenders do. However, while I'm doing that, I get Moed out of nowhere, and then the Harbinger from before follows up. Now this down that I made earlier is only at 12%, and I'm able to cleave him out with the help of my friend here, and I do get up. Now, unfortunately at this point, the momentum's kind of gone. My friend goes down, and this Willbender once again back at 1% HP. I can just not catch them. They're just so fast, man. But unfortunately, this is kind of how most fights go. Kind of just slowly die here to auto attacks from so many different people. I mean, there's not much I could do here. This next fight is going to start off between me and this Hammer Weaver. Now, Hammer Weaver, I haven't really fought a lot of them, but kind of general rule of thumb when fighting any Ellie build, in my opinion, is instead of trying to DPS it to death, try to CC it to death. The reason for that is Ellie itself isn't really that tanky, but it has a lot of resustain. So if you can catch him in a gravel or a shield 5 before you burst, I feel like your damage or the fight is a lot better off. Here in the second gravel, I caught him, hit him with a nice F1 burst and got him to 20% health, almost one-shot him, and then this Dagger Mirage joined the fight. Now that Dagger Mirage is here, I want to kind of play a little bit more safe, but this Ellie is pretty low, so I do want to maintain a little bit of damage pressure, just kind of walking on top of him with my block, Sword 3 into the Sword 2 to get the down, and I try to go for the Shield 5, but it does get power blocked, so I back off, and just kind of figuring out what I want to do next. Go ahead and charge my Mantra. I see that this Ellie is misformed towards me, so I don't have to worry about the guards rallying him, which is perfect. And I want to go back and consolidate my damage on the down. Throw the Greatsword 2 on him, and the Ellie does try to go for a res, but he backs off as soon as that damage comes out. And I'm going to make some distance to get my heal off so it doesn't get interrupted. Especially when a Mesmer is running power block, that is a huge, huge deal to get it interrupted. Now, I got the Ellie double downed, and I got my shield block up, my Mantra charge, I'm ready to go. There's another Ellie that joins the fight, and I got this Mirage on the back foot. Here, I thought the clone was an Axe 3 dude. I swear to God, I gravelled on it. It happens to the best of us, okay? But, look, this Ellie's still low, or excuse me, the Mirage is still low, and I try to go for the Sword 3 MO, but he does port away, and I'm feeling pretty confident right now, but this Dagger Mirage is about to almost one-shot me. I mean, look at that damage, dude. Holy shit. But he is still pretty low. There's a Reaper that joined, and that Staff Ellie is still down there. Gotta watch for the Greatsword 5 pull on the Reaper, even though I'm LOS'd. Now, he goes for the res, the Reaper does, but I interrupt it with the Mantra, and then that perfect range shield 5. Look at that shit, dude. And now I got this Ellie up here with me. I push him back, try to consolidate some damage on top of both the downs. Now my teammate's here to join the fight, so I have the Mirage down, the core Ellie down, and the Reaper on top of me, and the Ellie that I originally killed is back from respawn. Right now, my biggest objective is to double down that Mirage, just because I don't want to get hit with a downstate illusion, because it does a ton of damage. However, in trying to cleave out this Ellie so quick, I do manage to down myself. However, I rally from the core Ellie, and my teammate gets the Reaper down. So now all we're left with is this 2v1 versus the original Weaver. Land a nice Greatsword 4 into a gravel and try to down him like that, but he does, I think it's Twist of Faith out of it. But we get him, we cleave him out, and that's the fight right there. And for this last fight, it's going to be kind of a long one, but I feel like it's a pretty good fight with a green name teammate that works out pretty well. You see that the Soul Beast kind of opened up on me. Power Soul Beast doesn't do a ton of damage to me. I don't do a ton of damage to him. But at this point, my teammate, who is a core defense, I'm almost positive Selly Warrior, could be wrong, but he's pretty tanky and he does a decent amount of damage. We are able to get the Soul Beast down, and a Sword Dagger Weaver and a Tempest join the fight as well. Now, these two players aren't really going to do a ton of damage. I'm not super worried about the burst potential from them, just the burning from the Sword Dagger Weaver, and a Willbender also joins the fight, as well as a Ranger. Now, here I'm kind of looking, seeing what I want to do. I feel confident that my friend here can face tank the Tempest and the SD Weaver, and, you know, I'm kind of waiting for him to make some distance towards that Ranger. As soon as he does, I follow up with a Shield 5 into a Gravel, into a burst to get the Ranger down. Now that he's down, I caught a little bit of burning from the Sword Dagger Weaver, and I'm able to clear it just in time with Midnight Signet. And while I do that, my teammate actually gets to stomp on the Ranger. Now I get my heal off, and my next target should be this Willbender, just because it doesn't give my teammate a lot of breathing room with the mobility and the burst potential that it has. However, for some reason the Willbender decides to back off. I'm getting auto-attacked by another Ranger, but I see that my teammate has popped Rampage, so this is probably a good time to try and kill this Tempest because there's a lot of CC out right now. We're able to get the Tempest down. The Ranger from before has joined the fight once again, and also this SD Weaver is still doing pretty well. At this point, my cooldowns are shot, however, and I'm pretty sure my teammates' cooldowns are probably pretty shot too. So we're going to play a little slow, and I see that he does some decent damage on this Weaver, or excuse me, on the Soul Beast while I'm charging my Mantra, so I'm going to go ahead and follow that up and confirm the down. Now that we have the Soul Beast down, we're pretty much just worried about this Ellie for right now. Again, very tanky, like I said earlier. Doesn't really do a lot of damage, so if he gets left alone, it's not the biggest thing. However, when I turn around, I see that there is a Spectre that has joined the fight, and now this becomes my new target because there's not a lot of classes that can stain a Spectre just auto-attacking them because it's ridiculous. However, the Spectre, very glassy, I'm able to one-shot him fairly quickly. Also, I'm able to drop a double Gravwell on this SD Weaver to really try to go for that kill. However, he does stun break out of the second Gravwell. And then I also follow it up with a Shield 5. And, you know, at this point, decent damage has been done. This SD Weaver is pretty much done. Just kind of following it up a little bit of damage. And right about this time, the Tempest is back. Again, my cooldowns are shot. Just kind of playing it slow. My teammate really putting in some work with that face tank energy. And I'm just kind of sit back, charge my Mantra, and auto-attack a little bit. Right about this time, the Ellie starts to make his way towards the camp, and this Ranger from before once again joins the fight. Now, I would have opened up on the Soul Beast, but my teammate did a lot of damage to this Tempest already, so it's best to just kind of keep my damage pressure on him. Now, if the Soul Beast would have opened up on me, I would have definitely counter-pressured the Soul Beast, but like I said, this Ellie was very low already, and this Scourge has also joined the fight. However, the Ellie is running away from all of his teammates, so I am going to chase the Ellie, because that is the easiest thing to do. He goes for a Water Overload, try to interrupt it with Mantra, followed up with a Gravel to get the interrupt, and now we have a pretty good area to fight. Here I see my teammate goes for the Stomp on the Tempest. He does use Mistform, and then my teammate pops a Rampage to go for the Stomp again, so I'm not worried about interrupting a res or trying to cleave the down. Now my teammate runs away from the camp area. I am left with just a Soul Beast, and I want to go ahead and get him out of here because I cannot let a Soul Beast just auto attack on me for the whole fight. However, I know that I cannot just stand in these guards and face tank everything, so I need to kind of figure out what I want to do next. And right about this time, I see somebody else coming from respawn, so I try to do a little damage on the Soul Beast, however, don't land too much, and my continuum split is up, so I'm going to try and figure out somewhere to LOS. Best place seems to be right behind this little hut, try to get away from the camp and get away from this Harbinger because I do not have the cooldowns to deal with that. Here I'm able to continue split burst into the Soul Beast, and I'm actually able to down him with a Greatsword 4, and I'm going to go ahead and cleave out this guy. However, unfortunately, while I'm cleaving this guy out, my teammate is left with a 1v3, and this is kind of a weird predicament because I can go for the cleave, but if I don't, we'll get the Ranger up, and it's kind of too far to run and help my teammate. As you can see, he was already down, and there's not really much I could do for him. Now at this point, I'm making my way towards another 1v3 versus a Harb, a SD Weaver, and also a Scourge. Now this fight looks pretty bleak, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I'm this far into the fight, I cannot give up now, and all of these classes have more mobility than me, believe it or not, so that's very cool as well. Again, really not much I can do here. It's just these classes have a lot of CC, a lot of Connie pressure, a lot of damage pressure, and I don't have the cooldowns for it. So unfortunately, this is how the fight goes. But with all that being said, that is pretty much it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something for sure. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about the longer form of fights. Just kind of wanted to show something that isn't so much about the fight itself, but before, in between, or after even. And just kind of, you know, show a little bit more insight to what goes on and the thought process so much more than what you're reactively doing. Now, if you guys want to go back to the shorter form videos or something like that, definitely let me know as well. But like I said, that's pretty much it for me. New roaming video here soon whenever alliances come out. Could be in a month, could be in 6 years, who knows, you know, just going off of what ANET does. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, hope you learned something, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.